Chapter 5: Towns, Traders and Craftsmen. During the 200 years of Mughal rule, that is, from the 16th to the 18th century, India witnessed the establishment of a stable centre and a uniform provincial government. In an age of peace and security, trade and commerce flourished. This gave an impetus to urbanization in India. Sources: the literary sources of information on urbanization for the medieval period for northern India are rather scant. About 20 books of Al-Biruni, the memoirs of Ibn Battuta and the travel accounts of Marco Polo are the useful sources of information. There also exists archaeological evidence on a few urban centers in the north. For South India, there exists a vast body of literature in Tamil. Growth of towns between 600 to 1000 AD. Urbanization in North India continued to make slow progress under the patronage of petty Hindu kingdoms. The Rajput kings established numerous towns in Mewar and Malwa, while the Palas contributed to the urbanization of the Ganga Delta. The old urban centers in the Ganga plains saw ups and downs with the rise and fall of dynasties. The invasions of Mahmud of Ghazni ravaged cities of northwest and western India. Later, the Sultans built new cities within the present site of Delhi. Siri, now in ruins, by the Khiljis, Tughlaqabad and Jahanabad by the Tughlaqs were built near the site of the present Delhi. Al-Biruni and Ibn Battuta mention nearly 50 important cities during this period, most of which existed earlier. The two leading cities of North India were Delhi and Agra. Mathura, Taneshwar, Allahabad, Varanasi, Pataliputra, Gwalior, Ujjain, Dhar, Somnath, Meerut, Panipat, Bhuj, Baroda and Srinagar were other major cities. Capital cities: the capital cities are the largest and most impressive cities of the time. During the Mughal period, Delhi, Sikri and Agra remained the capital cities from time to time. Pune emerged as the capital of the Marathas. Industrial cities: the major factor contributing to urbanization in the Mughal period was the growth of traditional industries such as textile, metalwork, and various arts and crafts. Dhaka, Varanasi and Ahmedabad were major urban centers of industry and craft. These cities were usually smaller than the capital cities. Trade center: external trade was another major factor contributing to urbanization during this period. A number of trade centers emerged at the periphery of the Mughal Empire. The main centers were Bombay, Surat, Burhanpur, Satgaon, Chittagong, and Hugli. Bombay and Surat were by far the most important trade centers of this time. Burhanpur in Malwa was major center of trade between the Mughal Empire and the Deccan kingdoms. Port cities: India had a flourishing overseas trade since ancient times. Therefore, several port towns existed on the west coast as well as the east coast. Bombay, Sopara, Bhuj, Surat, Cochin, Goa, Quilon on the west coast developed as ports due to flourishing trade with African, Southwest Asian and many European countries. On the east coast of India, Tamralipti, now Tamluk, was an ancient seaport in Bengal. Kaveri-Patnam was located on the present Tamil Nadu coast. Masulipatanam was another port during the later medieval period. During Mughal supremacy, the Europeans also set up a few port towns. Case study: Hampi, earlier known as Vijayanagar, lies on the bank of the Tungabhadra river in Karnataka. It served as the capital of the successive Sangama, Saluva and Tuluva lines of kings who governed an empire encompassing almost whole of South India. The Vijayanagar capital was founded in the middle of the 14th century but was abandoned after 1565, when it was sacked by the Sultanate armies of the Deccan kingdoms of Bijapur, Golconda, and Ahmednagar. Vivid accounts of the capital's grandeur are given by Persian, Italian and Portuguese visitors. The surviving ruins of Vijayanagar incorporate several day villages, including Hampi, as well as fields and grazing lands. The site is of interest for its architectural remains, which includes military fortifications and defensive gateways constructed of massive granite slabs, palace structures, courtly pavilions and elephant stables, reservoirs or tanks, channels and aqueducts, walled temple complexes with shrines, columned halls or mandapas and towered gateways or gopurams, and a host of lesser religious structures, and mosques and tombs for the Muslim inhabitants of the city. These features were built of stone, brick, plaster, and wood, but only the masonry portions survive, some of which have been uncovered in recent excavations. Then are distributed over an area of about 25 square kilometers divided into discrete zones, walled urban core in which the bulk of the city's population was located, a smaller walled royal center inside the urban core, containing the principal ceremonial and residential structures associated with the Vijayanagar kings, sacred center on the southern banks of the Tungabhadra river, including the Virupaksha temple at Hampi, and the ruins of other religious complexes, and an irrigated valley wedged between the granite ridges separating the royal sacred centers. Additional fortifications, tanks and settlements dot the vast hinterland that extends beyond these zones. Masulipatanam in Andhra Pradesh state, 150 kilometers north of Chennai, on the mouth of the Krishna River, was first a Dutch settlement, surrendering ownership to the English in 1620 AD. It was a major base of operations with strong fortifications. Its approaches were difficult, lying through marsh and scrubland. Yet nothing of Masulipatanam remains except a few crumbling walls. In its heydays, however, it was important enough to have changed hands many times. It is said that Masulipatanam was founded by the trading Arabs in the 14th century on their way from the Red Sea to southern India. It became a flourishing seaport during the time of the Satavahanas. It was under the rule of the Hindu king of Warangal until it was captured by the Muslim ruler of Orissa in 1478 AD and then by the Vijayanagar rulers in 1589 AD. The Dutch came in 1605 AD, the English in 1611 AD, the French between 1750 to 1759 AD, and eventually the British returned and took it over in 1759 AD. In 1854 AD, a massive cyclonic storm and a devastating tidal wave ruined the fort. The city received its present name in 1949 AD. Machilipattanam is a railroad terminus and a seaport. The Bandar Canal connects it to Vijayanagar to the northwest. The city's main industries include carpet weaving, rice and oilseed milling, and the manufacture of scientific instruments. The city is also known for its kalamkari textiles and printings created by using vegetable dyes. The beaches of Machilipattanam are marked with scenic beauty and attract a large number of tourists every year. During the festival of Magha Purnima, thousands of pilgrims take a dip in the sea. Many temples are dedicated to Lord Shiva and are a great attraction for tourists. Church and Ghantashala have great attraction for Christians and Buddhists, respectively. Surat, located at the mouth of the Tapti River on the Gulf of Bombay, is said to have been founded by a Hindu Brahmin called Gopi in 1516 AD. The city was attacked by Muslims, Portuguese, Mughals and Marathas from the 12th to the 15th century. In 1514, the Portuguese traveller Duarte Barossa described Surat as leading port. It was burnt by the Portuguese, 1512 AD and 1530 AD, and became the Emporium of India, exporting cloth and gold. Its major industries were textile manufacture and shipbuilding. The British established their first Indian factory, trading post, at Surat in 1612 AD. The city gradually declined throughout the 18th century. The British and Dutch both claimed control, but in 1800 AD, its administration passed to the British. By the mid-19th century, Surat was a stagnant town of 80,000 inhabitants. It prospered again with the opening of Indian railways. The ancient art of manufacturing fine muslin was revived, and Surat's cottons, silks, brocades, and objects of gold and silver famous. The city houses other industries also. Surat has recently emerged as a great center of diamond cutting and polishing. Different craftsmen have organized themselves into guilds to promote their goods.